how do you build in the importance of recognition, and how do you think about recognizing others? What's your framework?
Yeah, so I think I'm probably in the camp of, I think there's no such thing as too much recognition. I think that there's so much success that individuals and teams have because of like the confidence that they're getting from other individuals. And if they are, whether it's a small task or a large task, if they're hearing that people are grateful for what they did or they're proud of what they did, I think confidence is really what drives people forward and creating that type of environment. So, I think of, I try to build in recognition in so many facets, right? Whether that's in way people lead and way they deliver results and the short interactions that they have with individuals. I try to bake it into my daily life, and whether that's a quick email or over Slack or whether it's a phone call, there's something that I do every Friday, which is I have a 6 p.m. recurring calendar invite, which is actually more centered around gratitude. So it's more around, rather than recognizing an individual for what they've done, I try to do that like as I go throughout my day, and it spurs at different moments. I don't really have a framework around that, but I do have a framework around making sure that I thank at least one or two people every Friday at the end of a week for what they've done. So whether that's an individual that had handled a difficult customer call and I want to thank them for at least stepping up and showing leadership, or, for example, last Friday, I sent a note to a peer of mine who was really instrumental in helping me ramp here at the company, was really selfless in his time and walking me through like the internal relationships and how to think about navigating the company. And, without that, I probably would continue to be lost here at WeWork. So that's a few ways of I think about it. I think recognition, it's never too much. I think that we should be recognizing small things, little things, like as much as possible. In my mind, I feel like that just continues to build confidence in individuals for them to continue to push themselves forward. And then I think about, gratitude as a really powerful recognition, not just for those that are making an impact to me and to the team, but also, it feels good for my side to really be able to show that the impact that they're having on me, it does not, it's really meaningful.
Yeah, love it. And two questions on that. One,
yeah.
One is like, how are you doing this? Is it email? Is it verbally? Is it walking over to their desk? Is it a one-on-one? Is it closed door conversation? Is it in front of the team? Like, there's so many different ways to do this. How do you think about that? And how are you doing this? What's your strategy around it?
Yeah. So mostly around like recognition, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I try 100% of the time to do it in person. I'm a big believer in, I think this goes with like every type of interaction. I try to be very, very conscious and mindful of the setting and the atmosphere, right? So around recognition, I try to make sure it's in like, whether it's in a walking meeting or outside or try to have it over, it's got to be in person for me. And it could be just hey, let's take a walk in, to the lobby of our office. I try to have it in some type of more of a warm, casual type of environment. So mostly the recognition is like always in person. I feel like it's easy for us to be able to use like online platforms and text and whatnot, but be able to look somebody in the eyes and be able to tell them wholeheartedly, this isn't just like I'm trying to take off recognizing you today, to be able to like speak to them and really have that moment where, hey, you've made a difference, you made an impact, whether it's small or large, and it's important that we share this in person, and I thank you for that. That I think 100% of the time in my mind needs to happen in person. It's really easy for us to be able to use so many different communication platforms and ways to connect. Being able to do that in person is really powerful. Nice,
good one. And my follow-up to that is, what have you seen as the pull through of that? What are some, like, as in, what happens when you do that right? What do people like? What is the next couple of actions, or like, what have you seen as some of the results from the people that you're saying thank you to, and you're being grateful towards verbally out loud? Like, what does that do for both of them? What does it do for the team? What's the environment that it creates, so that people that are going to be more conscious in the audience of doing this, like you mentioned, what can they expect to be the output?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So I think, one of my superpowers is positivity, right? So right. I'm always trying to index on, bringing in a positive atmosphere, positive feedback as much as possible. And I'm also a big believer in focusing on strengths, not in weaknesses. There was a Harvard Business Review podcast around like constructive feedback is kind of pointless, that we should be focusing on what people do great and focus on their strengths. So, when I think about recognition, for example, there's an individual a couple weeks ago that really managed this sales process in a short time frame really, really well. Was really tight around the beginning kind of discovery, understanding what the client wants to achieve, to understanding like the deal leverage that we had in order to be able to accomplish it in a short period. And I recognize that individual, and what I'm hoping the pull through that I'm hoping to get out of that is I asked the individual to share that forward. Like, this is a strength of yours. I want to recognize you because you did a great job at that. How do we scale this goodness? How do you take that and share this experience, share your deal review with other members around you? There's so much that people can learn from you. And what I hope to get out of that, which happens a lot of times, is that person is then there's a ripple effect around the benefits of what that person accomplished. And they're getting so much confidence from that. They're like, wow, I did something really well. I'm able to share a lot of individuals, and they're going to take that forward into their next actions, their next couple of days of work, with so much confidence around, I did something great. I was able to share that with other individuals, and I know how to bring this forward to the rest of my week. So those are a couple of things that I think about in terms of recognition, is like, let's focus on the strengths. How do we take whatever you did really good at? How do we share that? How do we scale that across others? And recognition for me, I think it's always to inject this amount of confidence in individuals that they can then just continue to find success in whatever they're doing moving forward.